bit about yourself.
Oh, okay. So I am, God, single in my 50s and, been working full time for a long time. And this one day I was on Facebook and I saw Jordan come up on Facebook, and a couple of times I would just, you know, swipe past him. And then this one day I decided to listen to his video. Sounded really interesting. And then I joined one of those, I think it was called a webinar.
Yep.
Yeah, and went through the whole, I think it was about 1.5 hours or something, and sounded quite interesting. And the next day I got a call from, I believe it was TJ,
Yep.
and
Yep.
he explained what the program was all about and sounded really interesting. And obviously I have a lot of time on hand being single, and I thought I'd give it a go. And here I am 8 weeks later.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, just to give a bit of an introduction, Roshwin has got her first property. Tell us a bit about that journey. Absolute killer.
Yes, so I was quite excited when I first started. It took me about 2 weeks to get myself up and running because I was a little bit lost on how to go about doing all this. And then eventually I started looking at the properties because I really didn't know where to start and which real estate to call. And I started making calls to all these real estates and was getting knocked back with majority, 99% of them. And I was sort of felt really down about it and didn't know what to do. And then eventually I kept on going with the calls. And one thing I didn't do was put all this information into my CRM, like I get told by Ron all the time. Anyway, but I was still making my calls during my lunch break. And, I had a couple where they sounded like, they did short-term rental. And what I did was I started attending all these inspections on a Saturday. So I would get up very early on a Saturday morning. I live in Smithfield, so in the western area. So 8 o'clock, get my first coffee and I was out of here. And while I was there inspecting some of the properties where there was a chance for short-term rental, in between, if there was anything else I could fit in that area, I would just go and go to there were days when I did 9 inspections.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get home till 4:30 in the afternoon exhausted. And the next day, I would make a decision on, okay, well, which ones am I going to apply for? Because photos are quite deceiving, as we know. And then, I kept on getting knocked back, but I was showing up week after week to these inspections, and a lot of agents got to know me because I would have conversations with all of them, and I built a rapport with them as well. So now I have connected with at least 4 to 5 agents where they do short-term rental, and I constantly keep in touch with them, and they actually send me properties as well and ask me whether this is suitable or not, which feels amazing. So
Definitely.
yesterday I signed my first property and I was over the moon. So it took me 8 weeks to get there, but I made it. And then today I got an opportunity to actually apply for 2 more where they approached me and asked me to apply for 2 more. Haven't got them yet, but at least they approached me and asked me to apply for it. So, fingers crossed, I'm hoping I get them too.
Yeah, I think your situation and scenario is the definition of like hard work really pays off, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't think like people can't really understand how hard you've worked for this. Like we never say that it's easy, right? It's not something that's easy, but obviously with this hard work, sometimes, there might be stages where a lot of students think like, what's the point of doing all of these calls, showing up to these inspections and stuff. One thing I noticed about, Roshwin, yourself, is that you just never doubted it. You know what I mean? Like you'd rock up and stuff. And I noticed that like every time you're putting in this work and stuff, you never really thought like, why am I doing this? What sort of made you like keep going?
I think I just felt so positive about this whole program, like Airbnb. Like I would have never thought about getting into any of these. I was always about buying properties.
Yeah.
I never thought about this, and how easy it can be if you do it right to make money.
Yeah.
Instead of saving for years to invest in a property. And I think with and me working full time, and I do work in a very senior role, which was taking up a lot of my time as well. And it was very hard, you know. I mean, Ron, you would always say, you know, that 1 hour lunch break, you can make 20 calls. And I'm like, but Ron, it's not that easy for me to just sit there and make 20 calls, you know. You get disrupted all the time. But look, it was pretty much, I look forward to every Saturdays. I had a plan during the week. I went and looked at properties online. I knew exactly which locations I'm going to be working at that Saturday, and I would just make a call and just get in there. Even if they don't take my call, I would just make an effort because I'm in the area. So I kept on doing it, and then I would come home. Come Monday, Tuesday, I would sit and wait to see if my application was processed. Obviously, a lot of times, I don't even think they look at your application half the time. But anyway, and then, you know, I had only one person in my friends who know that I'm doing this because I don't want to jinx myself. So
Yeah.
I've told no one at all that I'm doing this. No one knows apart from one friend. So she would call me every week to check up, and I'll go, oh no, I didn't get it this week. You know, this is week 7 now. And she goes, you know, keep on going. You are one person who's gonna make this happen. And I would say, look, there's another next Saturday. I'm gonna be back out. I'm still very confident. I'm still very positive, and my focus, like I keep on saying to her, by December, I'm going to have 5 properties no matter what. I'm going to make it happen.
Oh,
So I think it was all about getting that first property, and then, you know, you're on the roll.
definitely.
It
And
just
yeah, just like you, you
yeah,
said
it's a
earlier,
mindset.
like, the two that came to you straight after, it was an
Yeah,
exact 360 moment where you've obviously worked hard to make these, you know, contacts, relationships, build the rapport, but that's sort of paid off where now they're approaching you, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it feels great, like, you know, and you know that who to go. Like at the moment, I'm going to stop at 3, but then, you know, they can keep on contacting me, and, you know, let's see where, you know, like I said, my focus is to get 5 by December, and, you know, when I want something, I usually get it. But I think it was after 7 weeks, I was like feeling a little bit down, even though I was positive. I did feel like, oh, come on, you know, come on, just get me that one property. Come on, get me that one property. And, you know, it's
yeah,
finally happened. And I'm really happy, very absolutely over the moon about the property I've actually got.
definitely. The deal, we won't go too much into it, but the deal
No,
is great, right? Yeah.
yeah, it is a great
For sure.
deal. Yes.
And in terms of like, I just want to ask, shift it over a little bit towards the whole, you know, mentorship and B&B success. What
Yeah.
sort of made you want to work with us, you know, in the first place? What sort of made you pick, you know, this is the guidance that I'm going to take on board?
Yeah, look, I did not know what to expect. Obviously, it's all new to me. I've never heard of this before. Did not know what to expect. So I just thought it was a great concept, and 3 young guys in their 20s, look at what they're doing. And I
Yeah,
listen to the videos, or I'm online almost every week where I can on a Thursday. If not a Thursday, then definitely on a Sunday, listening to them and the passion they have for what they've done.
yeah,
And their passion sort of makes me, I want to be like them. I want to grow like them as well. Like, you know, I'm at that age where I'm not in my 20s or 30s, but I want to grow like them. I want to achieve something. And I have so much time ahead of me to do that. And then the support that they give you, like, you know, you are, you know, I have a mentor where I can send you messages. Hey, your opinion on this, your opinion on this. And sometimes I know, especially the two that I told you about, where they send me the contract to sign. And then you said, no, it's not a great idea,
yeah,
and I was like really disappointed. And I'm like, Roshwin, just let it go. Just let it go, you know? Once I let it go, and I'm like, well, you guys have been doing this long enough. Obviously, you know what you're talking about. So just let it go. And which is what I did. So just having that support as well, that extra support, because obviously we can't rely on the likes of Terence and Jordan and Stanley to help us. Then we have you, where if I'm not sure about something, quickly send you a message, and whenever you can, you jump online and reply to that.
of
It's I think the communication it's not that difficult. It's very easy to get, you know, answers back within 24 hours.
yeah, appreciate that. And I know you're what are sort of like a few things that, you know, since joining, you kind of feel like, okay, this is good. Like this I'm actually going to succeed. What sort of made you feel confident that, you know, because there was that, like you said, there was week after week where you're trying. What sort
Yep.
of made you feel like, okay, I'm gonna get to that end goal, which is get
I
that?
think with me, I've always been very driven. Overall in my life, I'm a very driven person. I'm very self-sufficient and I'm very independent. And if I want something, I go get it. And I would not jump into something if I know I can't do it. I'm from the sales background.
Yeah,
So pretty much when I was getting into this, it's pretty much I've been doing that for the last 30 years.
yeah,
So I had a little bit of knowledge to pick up the phone and call someone and have that conversation with them and still be very nice and polite to them, even if they say no to you, you know, and then, have a great day and you hang up on them. So it's pretty much my passion as well. If I want something, I'll go get it, but I don't just jump into something without thinking. I did think about it a lot. And I think it was just pretty much the three boys who sort of gave me that push because I kept on listening to their videos and they always come up on Facebook. So you're always listening to their videos, over and over again. So yeah, I think that's what it was. Yep. And
definitely.
and and like, we all love money. So, why not? If you can have that spare, 2-3 hours a week or whatever time you have, and I don't want to retire at 67 if I can retire earlier. And I'm very passionate about traveling. So I can travel a bit more now.
Of course.
Eventually.
Yeah, no, do, and we're gonna get to those 5 properties. I'm
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
from your progress and stuff, like you've sort of realized now, the first one was that hardest step.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like the second, third are already sort of creeping in there. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. So you were telling me that you were saying you had a background in sales, right? I know you gave a brief introduction at the start, but what are you doing now in terms of like before joining this and stuff? What are you doing for like work? What's that sort of thing like?
Yeah, so I work as a contracts manager. So pretty much I look after all the contracts in large multi-million dollar orders that we receive. So my job is pretty much liaising with the customer, the legal department, the leasing department, the banks, and getting contracts on signatures. So I do a lot of meetings, Teams meetings, customer visits, phone calls, chasing people. So I'm always chasing people. That's my job.
So
Chasing
obviously,
people to get a signature. Yeah.
the thing is, I know that, but the reason I ask is because obviously there's so much going on in your life, in your work life, right?
Yeah.
Like you have such a busy schedule.
Yeah.
Yet you still manage to make time for these calls and stuff. So
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people who might also be in a full-time role, right?
Yeah.
And they might think like, how am I going to do it being in a full-time role? So
Yeah.
like, what would you have to sort of share?
So I used to plan my days at night. So I would come home at night instead of spending 5 hours watching Netflix, I would spend 3 hours watching Netflix and I would go onto realestate.com and I would just go through properties, pick an area, a location, and just go through properties and make some notes. And then pretty much, if I can every day, if not every second day, I just pretty much, well, what I used to do is book myself a Teams meeting for about an hour and go and lock myself into a meeting room for an hour and just start making those calls.
Yeah.
And it's not possible every day because half the time, and I had a 3-day conference as well where I had to prepare, for the conference for 3 days. So putting together PowerPoint presentations and organizing the conference. So that took up a lot of my time in between. So those days there was no chance of me making calls, but you make it up on other days, like, and again, CRM, I'm very bad at that, but I have a lot of notes.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much doing whatever you can. You can't just say you're busy all the time. Yes, you are busy. You have a full-time job. We all get lunch breaks. I'm always working through my lunch, but now I actually take that 1 hour because it is my lunch break. So I lock myself in the room for 1 hour saying I'm in a meeting and pretty much make those calls. And some calls are very quick because they don't pick up a lot of times. Some of the time they'll pick up and they're straightforward. Sorry, we don't do a short-term rental. No problem, cross them off. And other times they'll actually have a conversation with you.
Definitely.
So that's when you are having a conversation with that agent, that's a positive call to me. So you make a note about that. This is a positive call, and there is a good chance this might eventually turn into short-term rentals. So you concentrate on those agents more than the ones who pretty much just hang up on you or don't want to talk to you. Yeah.
Definitely. That's very, very well said. And I'm sure like a lot of people, you know, or whoever is watching this, right? They might need that extra sort of, you know, whatever you're telling us today, that's definitely going to inspire, you know, whoever is watching this video. So
I hope so.
it's really, really, I'm really, really
Yeah.
thankful for your time. And I'm sure whoever watching this would be as
No
well.
problem. Yeah.
Just to leave one more question, right?
Yeah, sure.
If someone is sort of on the fence, right? Because I'm sure we've all, like, I was once a student as well before I became mentor. You know, you were once starting up as well. What some sort of advice to give that person the final push to take that step, to take this journey, you know, get on B&B success, you know, just start this whole journey in a
yeah, look, nothing comes easy in life in general. Nothing is given to you. To achieve something, you have to work at it, and like some days things don't go your way, sometimes some weeks, some months, but eventually if you are passionate and you want something, you will get it. So just keep going, and sometimes, you know, I mean, I know with you with the mentorship, like, you know, we have 15 minutes with you every fortnight, but, you know, I personally am a mentor to all the young ones at work. I love talking to them about my 30 years at work, how I got from where to where I am today. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy journey at all, you know. So, you know, I mentor all the young ones at work. So pretty much it's just about communicating with people, I guess, connecting with a few people online as well, and chit-chatting with them as well. That I think that would come in handy as well. But yeah, nothing comes easy. Just keep on going, and eventually it will happen. Once you get your first one, I mean, I'm just so excited, and it's just so over the moon right now. Just the 6 weeks of hard work has paid off, you know. But I never lost hope. I would get disappointed and upset, but it was only for a short period. And then I would go, okay, well, let's get back into it again, you know, because there's a purpose to this. Why would I just join something without thinking? You know, there's a purpose. Don't give up. You'll get there.
Definitely.
Yeah, and just team up with people. Yeah.
You're such a great example of, like, it didn't come easy, you know, nothing was sort of just given there and then you walked off, you know. Now the good thing about this hard work that you've put in is that you've gained, like, the experience of how to, you know, figure out what sort of things to look for, how to close a deal, what to exactly do. Like, there's been improvements every week. And now 8 weeks later, you know, there's a big difference now compared to where we started, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's always a journey, right? Everything is always a journey, but, you know, eventually it becomes fruitful. So it is for me now. So now I'm pretty much excited about just setting up my first Airbnb.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anyways, thank you very much for your time. I know it went quite a lot longer than we expected,
That's okay.
but that's going to be really, really good, you know.
Amazing.
For people to watch this, but thank you very much, Roshwin.
Thank you, Ron. Bye.